It is 30 minutes past 8 on a Tuesday night, and the wind on the rooftop of the summit slices through my designer blazer like a knife forged from January's icy breath. Below me, Manhattan unfurls in a glittering grid of relentless ambition, yellow cabs weaving through streets like threads in a tapestry of power. Office towers ablaze with the glow of late-night greed. This is the kind of view that demands $500 per glass of wine just to behold. I'm cradling that glass now. A vintage Cabernet the color of old money. Watching the liquid ripple as my hand trembles slightly in the chill. This party is mine. All mine. 50 guests from the financial elite. Toasting my secret promotion to VP at Carmichael & Associates. At just 30 years old, I've clawed my way to a position most spend 2 decades chasing. The firm oversees $3.7 billion in assets. And now I'm one of only 5 with signing authority. I should feel triumphant, like a conqueror atop her empire. Instead, there's a hollow echo in my chest. A void where joy should reside. 2 weeks ago, I invited my parents and my sister Madison to celebrate my 30th birthday at a simple pizza joint in Brooklyn. Nothing fancy, just casual, comfortable, family, but they flaked, as they always do. Madison claimed she needed healing time in Aspen after getting fired from her 3rd marketing job in 2 years. Mom's words still ring in my ears. Sharp and dismissive. We need to support your sister right now. Natasha, you're independent. You don't need us. So, I rented this rooftop to prove her right. To show I didn't need them. To celebrate alone amid colleagues and clients who respect my spreadsheets but know nothing of my soul. The irony bites harder than the wine's tannic edge. A bitter reminder that success doesn't fill the gaps left by absent love. The elevator chimes, pulling me from my reverie. 4 men emerge, their suits off the rack, functional, forgettable, the kind meant to blend in but screaming, federal agent, to anyone with an eye for detail. They navigate the crowd with military precision, their trajectory aimed straight at me. And dread coils in my gut like a serpent awakening. They box me in against the glass railing, cutting off escapes with the efficiency of predators who've hunted 1,000 times. The lead agent is tall, gray-haired, his eyes like a forensic balance sheet, cold, analytical, missing nothing. Natasha Hill, he states, not asks, flashing a badge that gleams with the words, Federal Bureau of Investigation, before he presses on. You're being detained under the Espionage Act. We detected a physical breach at your Hill Industrial Facility. Secure Communications suggest you sold access code protocols to a third party. The world tilts on its axis. The Espionage Act, enacted in 1917 during World War I, a law designed to punish those who compromise national defense. Carrying penalties of up to 20 years in prison and fines that could bankrupt empires. Those words don't belong in my life. I invest in industrial real estate, flip warehouses, run a quiet side business managing server farms for defense contractors. Everything is legal, licensed, compartmentalized. I didn't sell anything. I managed to whisper, my voice distant, submerged. You'll have an opportunity to explain that. Agent Miller replies, his gaze flicking to my employee ID badge still clipped to my blazer. Right now. You're coming with us. My colleagues stare, frozen in shock. James Carmichael, the senior partner, wears a mask of horror. The clients I've courted for months are already pulling out phones. No doubt drafting emails to sever ties from the scandal unfolding. My career dies in real time. Suffocating under assumptions and liability fears. They escort me to the service elevator, no handcuffs. At least. But the message is clear. I'm not arrested. But I'm far from free. We descend 43 floors in silence, broken only by the elevator's pneumatic hiss and my hammering pulse. The alley behind the building reeks of garbage and rain-slicked pavement. Wedged between 2 dumpsters squats a vehicle that resembles a black armored truck fused with a mobile fortress. The term, SIFE, flashes in my mind from a defense briefing, sensitive compartmented information facility. A portable vault engineered to block all signals, electromagnetic pulses, and eavesdropping, often used by the FBI for high-stakes interrogations in the field. This is real. This is happening. They usher me inside. and the door seals with a vault-like thud, isolating us from the world. The interior is cramped, clinical, lined with monitors and comms gear. A metal table bolted to the floor. 2 unforgiving chairs, everything in shades of gray and black. Radiating cold efficiency. Sit, Miller commands. And I comply. A younger agent sets up recording equipment. His movements precise. Miller places a tablet before me, displaying surveillance feeds of a building I know intimately, the gray box. My warehouse. But it's no ordinary warehouse. At 2020 Eastern Standard Time, we detected an unauthorized breach at the facility registered to Hill Industrial Holdings. Miller intones, procedural and flat. This facility houses server infrastructure for multiple Department of Defense subcontractors. The breach triggered a silent alarm linked to FBI Cyber Division. 3 minutes ago, we observed 2 individuals cutting through the secondary lock. He slides the tablet closer. On screen, 2 hooded figures wield bolt cutters on a heavy-duty padlock. The live timestamp ticking at 20 hours 40 minutes and 15 seconds Eastern Standard Time. That's happening right now, I whisper, horror blooming. That's happening right now, Miller confirms. And earlier today, we intercepted communications suggesting you facilitated this breach. So, I'll ask you directly, Miss Hill, who did you sell access to? I didn't sell access to anyone. I would never. My phone vibrates in my jacket pocket. The pat-down must have missed it. Or perhaps they left it intentionally. Miller nods. Check it. With shaking hands, I retrieve it. A text from Madison. Timestamped 2020 Eastern Standard Time. I open it, and the words hit like a gut punch. Absurd and catastrophic. Madison. Money received. Just sold your rusty old storage unit to Quick Flip. $350 cash wired. They wanted it tonight. Don't worry. I put the money in the family trust for my startup. You're welcome. For a frozen moment, I can't breathe, can't think. Then, lifting my gaze to Miller, something shifts inside me, not panic, but a colder, sharper resolve. I didn't sell state secrets. I say slowly, each word a precise incision. My idiot sister just sold the building to a predatory wholesaler for the price of a used Ferrari. Miller scans the text, his expression unchanging, but his posture eases subtly. The room's tension pivots. I'm no longer the suspect, but a victim of identity theft entangled with a federal asset. This changes everything. 5 minutes have ticked by in the SCIF. Feeling like eternities, Miller leans back, calculating, while agents murmur into phones. Coordinating. The tablet shows the intruders still at work on the lock. Explain the asset, Miller prompts. I draw a breath, marshalling thoughts like a magician revealing the trick's mundane mechanics. 6 years ago, I acquired that property for $800 in an industrial zone 40 minutes from the city, no neighbors. No traffic, invisible unless sought. To Madison, who visited once and dismissed it as a dump. It's just concrete walls, no windows, no signage, ringed by chain link. She never returned. But it's no dump, it's a gray box. Industry slang for a secure server facility. No windows to thwart visual surveillance or sniper threats. No signage for operational security. Passive defenses like fences and cameras deter without drawing eyes. Armed guards scream importance. Quick Flip Ventures, I explain, is a real estate wholesaler preying on distressed properties, foreclosures, abandoned sites, estate sales. They scout via satellites, spotting anomalies like high-grade HVAC and cooling towers, mistaking it for a crypto mining farm. Crypto facilities often look similar, windowless warehouses humming with servers, guzzling power for Bitcoin rigs, but lacking the layered federal alarms mine has. Wholesalers like them have been linked to scams, forging docs or rushing sales to loot equipment before owners react, millions in gear stripped and vanished. Miller's understanding dawns. They're not spies. They're opportunistic thieves eyeing what they think is abandoned crypto gold. We have a tactical team en route, he says. ETA 8 minutes. Quick Flip's about to have a very bad night. Satisfaction flickers at the thought. Thieves breaching what they deem easy prey. Only to face federal fury. But it's eclipsed by darker truth. Madison committed wire fraud. I murmur, recalling penalties. Up to 20 years under 18 U.S.C. Section 1343. Plus fines. And identity theft. Miller nods. Forging corporate docs. Signing in your name. Wiring funds. Multiple felonies. I should feel fear for her. Guilt. Loyalty. Instead, numbness. Perhaps shock. Or exhaustion from a family that never showed. I need to check voicemail. I say. Miller assents. There's one from Mom at 1950 Eastern Standard Time. A voice note in the family chat. Instinct screams not to play it. Sensing it'll shatter something core. I press play anyway. Mom's voice floods the SCIF. Unintended recording. I blocked Natasha so she can't whine. Just sell the warehouse. Madison. She's hoarding junk while you suffer. Consider it restitution for raising such a selfish daughter. It drones on. I'm difficult. Independent. Undeserving. Then cuts. I sit still. A lifelong motor grinding to halt. That desperate crave for approval. The whisper urging harder work for their notice. It silences. They didn't steal, they felt entitled. Like narcissistic families often do. Parents fostering entitlement in the golden child. Scapegoating the independent one. Dynamics rooted in control and lack of empathy. As psychology texts describe, something new hardens in me. Colder than the SCIF's air. Miss Hill. Miller's voice cuts through the haze. Sounding distant amid the hum of equipment. I look up, my expression settling into this new, unyielding mask, colder than before. Forged in the fire of betrayal. My mother just admitted to conspiracy to commit wire fraud on a recorded line. I state flatly, she blocked my number to prevent interference. Then encouraged Madison to sell property she knew wasn't theirs. The agents exchange glances. The younger one jotting notes with hurried precision. Conspiracy under 18 U.S.C. Section 371. I recall from late-night law readings, up to 5 years. Especially when tied to fraud across state lines. But it's not just legalese, it's the raw exposure of a family's toxic core. Where enabling becomes criminal complicity. Miller nods carefully. To clear your name completely and secure the facility. We need Madison's confession on record. His words hang heavy. He wants me to call her. To lure her into self-incrimination while the FBI records every syllable. The old Natasha, the one from mere minutes ago, would have wrestled with this. Torn by blood ties and the myth of unbreakable family loyalty. But that version evaporated with restitution for raising such a selfish daughter. That phrase echoes like a mantra of liberation. Severing chains I didn't fully recognize until now. Psychological studies on narcissistic family structures, like those from experts such as Dr. Ramani Durvasula, describe this exact pattern. The scapegoat child achieves independence, only to be punished for it, while the golden child is shielded at all costs. Here, in this mobile fortress, I see it crystallized, my success reframed as selfishness, their theft as justice. I'll need my attorney on standby. I say calmly, my voice steady as steel. Ethan Vance. He specializes in corporate fraud cases. Miller agrees. And they patch him in via secure line. While they configure, I access my digital LLC records on my phone, incorporation docs, tax filings, property deeds, all encrypted in the cloud with blockchain-level security. The kind Fortune 500 companies use to safeguard assets. Everything screams sole ownership. Hill Industrial Holdings is mine alone. No co-signers. No family trusts entangled. Ethan picks up on the second ring. His tone professional amid the late hour. I deliver the abbreviated saga. FBI detention. Sister's fraudulent sale of a federal asset. The need to trap her on record. He doesn't flinch. Veteran of boardroom battles and SEC probes. I'll monitor. Don't admit anything. Let them talk. Miller links my phone to their forensic system. A setup compliant with Title III wiretap laws. Ensuring every word is timestamped. Admissible in court. Make the call. He instructs. I select Madison's contact. Opting for FaceTime. The visual will amplify the drama. Force her to confront my unyielding gaze. My finger hovers over the button. A fleeting point of no return. This isn't just cooperation, its orchestration of their downfall. I think of the voicemail again. That casual entitlement. And press call. It connects after 3 rings. Bridging worlds in stark contrast. The screen blooms with warmth. A jarring antithesis to my grim confines. I'm in a shadowy SCIF. Air thick with electronics and tension. Lit by monitor glow in blues and grays. Madison lounges in a luxury Aspen cabin. 2 hours behind, 7 p.m. there. Alpine twilight bruising the snow-capped peaks beyond massive windows. A fire crackles in a stone hearth, casting golden flickers on her cashmere sweater. Likely a $1.200 piece from brands like Loro Piana. Favored by the idol elite. Her blonde hair is salon perfect. Skin radiant from spa indulgences. 0 shadows of consequence marring her world. She's mid-celebration, a champagne flute in hand. Already tipsy. Natasha. She grins. Oblivious. Did you get my text? Pretty amazing, right? I basically just made you $350. In the past, such dismissals, claiming credit for my labor, would spark defensiveness. Stutters. Tears. Tonight, I'm glacial. A composure honed from high-stakes negotiations where emotion is liability. Madison, did you physically go to the property before you sold it? My tone is level, inquisitive, baiting the hook. She laughs. A tinkling sound laced with entitlement. Why would I? I saw it 6 years ago when you bought it. Total dump. Honestly, I'm impressed Quick Flip even wanted it. She sips bubbly, effervescent as her delusion. I did everything online. Found the old LLC paperwork in mom and dad's safe. Created a corporate resolution authorizing the sale. Signed your name. And boom. Easiest $350K ever. In the SCIF. Miller's pen scratches furiously. She's just confessed to forgery and identity theft under 18 U.S.C. Section 1028. Penalties up to 15 years. Real estate wholesaling scams like Quick Flips thrive on this, preying on hasty sellers. Rushing closings to evade scrutiny. As exposed in investigations by outlets like ProPublica on predatory flipping rings. You faked a corporate resolution? I probe, neutral as a prosecutor building a case. It wasn't hard, she boasts. Pride swelling. Used DocuSign in a template from online. Quick Flip never questioned it. They were thrilled, wired the money in minutes. Each admission hammers another nail. Wire fraud. Computer fraud under the CFAA, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986. Amended post 9/11 for cyber threats. I could warn her, urge a lawyer, but the voicemail replays, restitution. Selfish. No mercy surges. Madison, that property isn't a dump. I say softly, dropping the bomb. It's a windowless concrete box because it's a black site. It hosts servers for Department of Defense contractors. No windows to prevent sniper attacks. No signage to thwart espionage. Her smile cracks. What are you talking about? I saw the satellite images. It's just industrial cooling units. And you saw what Quick Flip wanted you to see. I cut in. They pegged it as a crypto mining farm, millions in equipment to loot before I noticed. They cut the perimeter lock about 30 minutes ago. Uncertainty flickers in her eyes. Dad shuffles into frame, face wine flushed, firelight dancing. Stop lying. Natasha, you're jealous because Madison did something productive for once. His slur thickens with alcohol. We checked satellite views. It's a server farm. Sold for scrap. You should thank her for monetizing that waste. I lean forward. Did Mom tell you about the voicemail in the family chat? Where she called selling my property, restitution, for raising me. Dad's face darkens. Your mother was just. Miller gestures subtly. On a monitor. Fresh activity at the warehouse. Quick Flip's duo breaches the inner door. Stepping into the corridor. Likely baffled by the pristine, humming interior, no dust of abandonment. But racks of servers blinking with classified data flows. Then, the tactical team converges, black vans. Agents in Kevlar, encircling like a noose. This is the pivot, theory crashing into reality. The call timer hits 5 minutes as Mom squeezes in. The trio on a plush leather sofa evoking a twisted Norman Rockwell, family unity in denial. Natasha. Honey. I know you're upset. Mom coos. Syrupy placation dripping. But Madison needed this. She's been through so much, losing her job. And you've always been so independent. You don't need that old warehouse. We were helping both of you. By stealing from me? I retort. It's not stealing when it's family. Dad snaps. It's sharing. Taking care of each other. Something you've never understood. The agents observe like anthropologists studying dysfunction. Mom shifts to guilt. Besides, we already spent some of the money. Sweetie, $50 down on a luxury RV. Non-refundable. If you ruin this, you'd be stealing from our retirement. Is that what you want? Silence stretches, letting them marinate in their logic's absurdity. Then, precisely, you spent stolen money on an RV deposit. That's receiving stolen property under federal law. Could be money laundering under RICO statutes. RICO, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act of 1970. Originally for mafia busts, now wielded against fraud rings. Carrying 20-year sentences. Dad reddens. Don't start with legal nonsense. You're not a lawyer, just bitter. Ethan's voice slices in via conference. Actually, she's correct. Mr. and Mrs. Hill. This is Ethan Vance, Miss Hill's attorney. I'm on a recorded FBI line. You've admitted spending proceeds from a fraudulent transaction. That's significant exposure. Mom pales. Madison scrutinizes my background. Piecing the puzzle. The sterile acoustics. My stoic demeanor. Quick Flip said it was a private sale. Madison panics. Voice pitching higher. They promised to handle paperwork, as long as I had authorization. They played you, I say. Sympathy absent. Preyed on your laziness. Fast cash. No questions. Classic wholesaler tactic. As seen in FTC crackdowns on real estate scams. I angle my camera, revealing Miller's badge and the FBI seal. I'm not at a party. Madison, I'm in federal custody. Your sale triggered a terrorism alert on a classified facility. The fallout is visceral. Madison's glass slips. Champagne pooling on hardwood. Dad stumbles. Mom gasps. That's not possible. Madison stammers. It was just a warehouse. You said, I never told you what it was for. I correct. You assumed worthless because it looked that way, by design. Oh God, she whispers. Mantra of dawning horror. Ethan interjects. Mr. and Mrs. Hill. The FBI is tracking your location. You've admitted on record to spending money from property you knew wasn't yours. Retain counsel immediately. Cease statements. But chaos erupts. They turn inward. Your fault. Dad bellows at Mom. I said check a lawyer. But you insisted Natasha wouldn't notice. Don't blame me, she shrieks. You pushed for the RV. We deserved it. Shut up. Madison screams. Terror raw. What do I do, Natasha? Emptiness reigns where pity should. Watching their implosion is like a controlled demolition, dramatic. Inevitable. Oddly flat. I can't help you. I murmur. You committed federal crimes. Wire fraud. Identity theft. CFAA violations. Forged docs. Impersonated an officer. Breached a security asset. But I didn't know, she wails. You never told me. You never asked. I counter. Assumed. Took. Like always. My achievements. My birthday. My validation. Her phone shakes. Sirens wail distantly. Swelling. What's that? Mom quavers. That, I say, is the Aspen Sheriff's Department and FBI agents. Arresting Madison for crimes across state lines. Pounding echoes. FBI. Open up. On my monitor. Parallel drama. The warehouse swarmed. Quick Flips thieves dropping tools. Hands up. Faces ashen realizing this isn't crypto loot but a national security hornet's nest. Madison's screen jerks as agents burst in. I didn't know. Just a warehouse. An agent looms. Madison Hill. You're under arrest for wire fraud. Identity theft. CFAA violations. Right to remain silent. She's cuffed. Mom sobbing. Dad ranting about lawyers. Then, the clincher. No bail due to flight risk and asset sensitivity. No bail. Madison in custody till trial. The feed blacks out. Phone seized as evidence. By 10 p.m., the SCIF has lapsed into a subdued quiet, punctuated only by the low hum of electronics and the muffled pulse of the city beyond the armored walls. Agent Miller confers with another agent, reviewing notes with the meticulous scrutiny of a case that could make or break careers in the bureau. Ethan's voice crackles through the speaker, steady and measured amid the aftermath. "Natasha, are you still there?" "I'm here," I reply, my tone flat, echoing in the confined space. "The FBI will need a full statement tomorrow. But you're cleared of all suspicion. I'll handle the civil side. Quick Flip will definitely sue for return of the purchase price. And your family will be caught in the crossfire." I ponder that, the web of consequences unraveling like a poorly knotted financial derivative. Quick Flip wired $350 to Madison for a building she had no right to sell, with the transaction void ab initio, Latin for, from the beginning. A term drilled into me during real estate law seminars. The money's return is inevitable. But Madison funneled it into the family trust, a sham entity likely set up for her perpetual startups. And our parents dipped in for that $50 RV deposit. Reports from the National Association of Realtors highlight how wholesaling firms like Quick Flip often operate in gray areas, rushing deals to exploit sellers' desperation. But here, the desperation was Madison's greed. "How much did they spend total?" I ask Ethan, already calculating the shortfall. He rustles papers, perhaps pulling from the recorded call transcripts now digitized in real time. $50,000 on the RV deposit. Non-refundable as per standard dealership contracts in Colorado. I've seen similar in fraud cases. So, they're short $50 from the original sum. I think, the math stark. Quick Flip, facing their own federal scrutiny, will sue aggressively for the full amount, invoking remedies under the Uniform Commercial Code and state fraud statutes. When Madison and my parents can't repay, their assets meager beyond the house, they'll face asset forfeiture or liens. Joint liability, as Ethan notes, since the voicemail and call admissions paint them as knowing participants, potentially triggering RICO if prosecutors link it to a pattern. Their house, that colonial in the upscale suburb with manicured lawns and PTA meetings. The one they flaunted at holidays while diminishing my apartments as temporary. They'll liquidate it to stave off charges for unjust enrichment, a doctrine rooted in equity law to prevent profiting from wrongdoing. I recall Mom's voicemail once more, restitution for raising such a selfish daughter, and the irony coils like a serpent. This is true restitution. Forced by the scales of justice they tipped themselves. Narcissistic families, as outlined in books like Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, by Lindsay C. Gibson, often project their failures onto the achiever. But here, the projection backfires spectacularly. Agent Miller disconnects his call and pivots to me. "Miss Hill, you're free to go. We'll need you at the field office tomorrow at 10 a.m. for a formal statement. The U.S. Attorney will want your testimony for the prosecution. Quick Flip's crew is in custody. And your sister's en route to detention." I rise, legs protesting the cramped vigil. What happens to Madison? Federal detention overnight, then arraignment tomorrow afternoon. Given the charges, wire fraud carrying up to 20 years under Title 18. Plus CFAA violations enhanced by national security implications, the judge likely denies bail. Flight risk, given Aspen's proximity to private jets and her history of flitting jobs. If she pleads guilty and cooperates, 8 to 10 years, fights and loses. Up to 15. Sentencing guidelines from the U.S. Sentencing Commission factor in remorse. But her call showed none, only panic. 8 to 10 years. Madison, 26 now. Emerging in her mid-30s. Prime years lost to fluorescent lit cells and regimented routines. Federal prisons like FCI Danbury or Aliceville. Low security for white-collar offenders. But still cages stripping freedom. I should ache, sibling bonds. Shared childhoods, but it's a distant computation. Like balancing a ledger where debits of betrayal outweigh credits of blood. "Thank you, Agent Miller," I say, extending a hand he shakes firmly. "I'm sorry for the disruption to your evening. Miss Hill, for what it's worth, your operation is impressive. The facility's security architecture, layered alarms, compartmentalized access, is textbook. We'll ensure it remains secure. Perhaps even recommend it as a model in DoD subcontractor briefings. They unseal the SCIF door, and I step into the New York night. Alley air thick with rain and refuse, but invigorating after the sterile confines, like emerging from a bunker post-apocalypse. My phone erupts with notifications. Muted during the call but now a torrent. Colleagues' texts querying my welfare. James Carmichael's email demanding a callback. Missed calls from Summit Security. Voicemails piling like digital debris. One halts me. A bank alert. Request for authorization to pay a legal retainer for Madison Hill. They want me to fund her defense. Perhaps a public defender upgrade to some white shoe firm specializing in white-collar pleas. I stare. The old Natasha flickering, a ghost urging familial duty. Even post-betrayal, family helps family. The mantra drilled since childhood. Through Madison's bailouts and my overlooked milestones. But I'm evolved, tempered. I press decline, then block further requests tied to her name. Extending to mom and dad's numbers. Severing digital tethers to a toxic triad. No more midnight guilt calls. No more gaslighting guised as concern. Psychology calls this, going no contact. A survival strategy for scapegoats escaping enmeshment. Backed by therapists worldwide. Another buzz. Text from James. Call when you can. Need to talk about tonight. I debate. But transparency preserves alliances. I dial. Natasha. What the hell happened? His voice mixes confusion and worry. A senior partner unaccustomed to FBI interruptions at galas. I deliver the sanitized narrative. Sister's identity theft and fraud. My cooperation clearing me. Firm unscathed. Jesus. Natasha. I'm sorry. That's unimaginable. Take tomorrow off. The week if needed. We'll manage here. Thank you, James. I'll be in Monday. One more thing. He adds. The partners discussed while you were indisposed. Promotions on. FBI drama doesn't erase your merits. You're poised tonight. Shielding the firm? VP material. We're lucky. I close my eyes. A rare warmth piercing the chill. Detained. Family imploded. Yet career fortified, like a phoenix amid ashes. Hanging up. I linger in the alley. Reality settling like fog. Detained by FBI. Orchestrated sister's arrest. Engineered parents' ruin. Career intact. The rooftop party's likely winding down. But returning feels regressive. Instead, I stride to the subway. Apartment 20 minutes away if trains align, symbolic descent into the city's underbelly. Mirroring my emotional plunge. En route. Phone rings. Unknown number. Instinct says answer. Miss Hill. Special Agent Brooke. FBI Cyber Division. Miller asked me to update. Facility secured. Quick flip team extracted. No damage. But reset access codes with your security firm. Thank you, Agent Brooke. One more. Forensics on QuickFlip's docs show 3-week surveillance. Waiting for vulnerability. Your sister's fraud was their jackpot. Without your protocols, silent alarms tied to NSA-level monitoring, they'd have gutted it. Vanishing with DoD data worth millions on black markets. Your foresight saved national assets. I absorbed that. 6 years back. Acquiring the property. I engineered it impeccably. Unmarked facade blending into industrial sprawl. LLC veils obscuring ownership. Contracts with DoD subs for off-grid backups. Resilient against cyber threats like those in the 2021 Colonial Pipeline hack. Madison deemed it junk. Parents. Selfish hoarding. They never inquired. Assuming my empire expendable. Like many innovators. From Elon Musk's early PayPal days to overlooked tech pioneers. Success breeds envy from those closest. Subway entrance looms. I pause. City thrumming below. Trains rumbling. Lives intersecting. Final buzz. Email from QuickFlips Legal. CC'd to me via property records. Subject. Immediate demand for return of fraudulent purchase price. Body demands $350 in 72 hours. Threatening litigation. Criminal complaints. Void sale. Unauthorized. Standard boilerplate. But potent. Madison lacks funds. Parents spent chunks. Even liquidating. Timelines lag. I could intervene, write the check. Absolve them. Resources abound from my portfolio. Diversified across rights and venture funds. But mom's voice haunts. Restitution. Selfish. I forward to Ethan. I will not provide financial assistance. Then descend, leaving surface chaos for subterranean calm. 6 months later, November 2025, post-election haze. Markets volatile with policy shifts. But my holdings thrive on secure infrastructure bets. Office quiet at 7 a.m. Building half awake. Morning light piercing floor-to-ceiling windows. Coffee steams as I scrutinize quarterly financials for Hill Industrial, portfolio up 18%. Buoyed by expanded DoD contracts post-incident. Corner office on the 42nd floor. Once Quick Flip's HQ. Acquired at foreclosure for 60 cents on the dollar after their bankruptcy. Quick Flip imploded under FBI probe. My case the catalyst. Uncovering a web of frauds. Forged deeds in multiple states. Ties to theft syndicates stripping properties. Assets auctioned. I gutted their building. Renovated with smart tech, biometric locks. AI surveillance, now housing Hill Industrial and my VC fund for secure infra. Seed funding startups in quantum encryption and edge computing. Irony savored. From their ashes. My expansion. Phone buzzes. News alert. Madison Hill sentenced to 8 years for wire fraud. Article details plea deal. Cooperation. Remorse. Judge imposed 8 years. Citing national security compromise and entitled disregard. Per sentencing memo. Federal time at a minimum security camp. Perhaps. But still isolation. Parents dodged prison. Liquidated house. Repaid Quick Flip fully plus $75 fines for complicity. Now in a modest 2-bedroom suburb 40 miles out. Dad managing retail. Mom part-time at a garden center. Per fragmented updates from mutual acquaintances. They call sporadically, borrowed phones. Please. We're family. Natasha. Mistake. Forgiveness? Number changed after third. Boundaries firm. Door opens. Assistant Claire. Your 8 o'clock is early. Send in? Yes. Enter Mari Brooke. 23-ish. Blazer oversized. Portfolio clutched like armor. Nerves palpable in her hesitant stance. Miss Hill, thank you for meeting. I'm Mari Brooke, the intern from satellite office. I gesture to the chair. I know. Sit. Mari. Call me Natasha. She perches. Portfolio on lap. I wasn't sure you'd meet. Busy. And I'm just the intern who spotted a critical vulnerability in Newark's access system. I interject. Could have cost millions. Not just anything. She blushes. Reviewed logs. Saw timestamp inconsistency. Worth mentioning. Worth $10 bonus. In your next check. And this meeting. For your career trajectory. Her eyes widen. My career? I'm interning. Not graduated. That's the point. Smart. Detail-oriented. Perceptive. Qualities I hire. Full-time post-grad. Junior analyst. Path to senior. I don't know what to say. Yes or no. But first. Family support for this path? She falters. Not really. Parents wanted doctor or lawyer. Cybersecurity, not prestigious. Skipped my graduation. That familiar sting. Family dismissal. Let me tell you, Mari. I lean in. Blood relations sometimes blind to your value. Invested in their vision over yours. She nods. Recognition dawning. You don't need their validation. I press. Forge your standards. Goals. Success. Build impregnable, legally. Strategically. No one takes it. Not family. Competitors. Is that what you did? She asks softly. I reflect. Gray box now $14 million valuation. Post-expansions. This building from foes ruins. Career in male-dominated finance. Thriving despite odds. Yes. I affirm. Exactly. She straightens. Yes. I accept. We shake, her grip firmer. Welcome, Mari. Expect great things. After Mari leaves, her footsteps echoing softly down the hallway, I turn back to the window. The panoramic view of Manhattan stretching out like a living canvas of ambition and reinvention. The sun is fully up now. Its golden rays burning off the morning haze, casting the city in sharp, unforgiving relief. Skyscrapers piercing the sky like monuments to human tenacity. Streets below pulsing with the endless flow of taxis, pedestrians, and delivery drones humming through the air. It's November 25th, 2025, and the world feels different post-election, with markets fluctuating under new policies on tech regulation and data security. But my portfolio remains resilient, bolstered by investments in emerging fields like quantum-resistant encryption and AI-driven threat detection. Somewhere out there, amid the chaos, my parents are likely shuffling through their morning routines, Dad clocking in for his shift at the retail chain, managing stock in a fluorescent-lit warehouse not unlike the dumps they once mocked me for owning, Mom tending plants at the garden center, her hands in soil instead of spa gloves. A far cry from Aspen retreats. Madison, meanwhile, is in a federal facility, perhaps FCI Hazleton or a similar low-security prison for women, marking time in a 6x8 cell, her days regimented by counts, meals, and mandatory programs, 8 years stretching ahead like an unyielding sentence. Her once golden life reduced to institutional gray. I should feel a surge of triumph, a vindictive thrill at their downfall, or perhaps a gnawing guilt that gnaws at the edges of my conscience. The kind therapists warn about in cases of family estrangement. But instead, there's only this quiet, settled peace, a profound emptiness where drama once resided. Like the calm after a market crash when the savvy investor emerges unscathed. No more need for spectacle. No craving for validation from those who never offered it freely. No obligation to forgive. As pop psychology books like The Body Keeps the Score, by Bessel van der Kolk might suggest. Where trauma lingers in the nervous system. But mine has been exorcised through action, not absolution. I've learned that forgiveness isn't always a gift to the offender, sometimes. It's a chain that binds the victim. By declining their pleas, by blocking their numbers, I've claimed my sovereignty, a concept echoed in self-help movements post-2020, where no contact strategies gained traction amid rising awareness of toxic dynamics via platforms like TikTok and Reddit's r, raised by narcissists. With millions sharing stories of liberation from entitled kin. My phone buzzes with a calendar reminder. 10 a.m. site visit to the Greybox facility for DoD contract renewal. I gather my things. A sleek laptop encrypted with military-grade AES 256. A portfolio of expansion proposals including partnerships with firms like Palantir for advanced analytics, and head for the elevator. As I wait, the polished steel doors reflect my image back at me. A 30-year-old woman in a tailored suit from emerging sustainable brands like Reformation. Hair pulled into a professional chignon. Expression composed yet carrying the subtle lines of hard-won wisdom. Successful by any metric. Net worth crossing 8 figures. Influence in secure infrastructure circles. A network of mentors and mentees who value substance over blood. The elevator arrives with a soft chime. And I step inside. The doors closing on the remnants of the old me. The Natasha who orchestrated rooftop parties to mask loneliness. Who answered every parental call with a flicker of hope. Who gauged her worth by their fleeting approvals. That version is obsolete. Discarded like outdated software in a digital upgrade. This Natasha builds empires in the shadows. Letting adversaries unravel themselves in the glare of consequence. QuickFlip's bankruptcy wasn't just fallout. It was opportunity. Acquiring their assets at auction. I integrated their tech scouting algorithms into my VC fund. Now funding startups that use satellite imagery for ethical real estate assessments. Turning their predatory tools into forces for transparency. The Greybox, valued at $14 million after expansions, now includes redundant power grids and biometric vaults. Inspired by lessons from global cyber incidents like the 2024 SolarWinds breach sequel, where supply chain vulnerabilities exposed DoD data. My contracts have doubled, with subcontractors praising the site's uptime, 99.999%. A 5 nines standard that rivals AWS data centers. Descending to the lobby, I allow myself the smallest smile. Not from schadenfreude at my family's suffering, but from the sheer resilience of survival. Surviving them wasn't mere endurance, it was alchemy. Transmuting pain into power. Psychological research from institutions like Harvard's Adult Development Study underscores this. Long-term happiness stems not from familial bonds, but from self-authored purpose and chosen relationships. I've built that. A team at Hill Industrial where merit trumps nepotism. Where interns like Mari rise on talent, not entitlement. As I exit into the crisp autumn air, a chauffeured electric SUV waits, part of my fleet upgraded for sustainability. Aligning with 2025's ESG mandates pushing firms toward net zero. The drive to the gray box takes 40 minutes. Traffic light on the expressway. Giving time for reflection, I scroll through emails. A congratulations from James Carmichael on my latest deal. A query from a DoD liaison about scaling my model nationwide. No messages from family. Silence that's golden. Unbroken since I changed numbers. Reports indicate Madison's plea included allocution. Admitting her pattern of disregard. A phrase lifted from judicial trends in white-collar cases post-Enron. Where entitlement aggravates sentencing. Parents' new life in suburbia. A 2-bedroom rental. Utilities strained. Social circle shrunk. Consequences of their choices. Not my cruelty. I forward a news clip on her sentencing to Ethan, who replies. Case closed on our end. Your testimony was pivotal. Prosecutors commend your composure. Arriving at the facility, the unmarked concrete facade greets me like an old ally. Chain link fence humming with sensors. No windows to invite prying eyes. HVAC towers whirring efficiently. Security scans my biometrics, granting access to the humming heart. Server racks glowing with data streams. Cooling systems optimized for energy efficiency per EPA guidelines updated in 2025. The DoD rep. A stern colonel with a tablet of specs. Tours with me. Impressive resilience. Miss Hill. Post-breach protocols held. Minimal risk exposure. We discuss renewals. Expanded bandwidth for AI simulations. Integration with quantum networks on the horizon. Your foresight averted a crisis. He notes. Echoing Agent Brooke. Signing the addendum. I feel the weight of legacy, not inherited, but forged. Back in the SUV. Heading to lunch with investors. I ponder Mary's future. Mentoring her isn't charity, it's investment. Seeding the next generation against the pitfalls I navigated. She'll learn to build gray boxes of her own, metaphorical fortresses of independence. The city recedes in the rearview. But my path forward gleams. Board seats. Philanthropy in cyber education for underrepresented women. Perhaps a book on resilient entrepreneurship. Drawing from cases like Elizabeth Holmes' fall but flipping to triumph. Evening finds me in my penthouse. Glass of Cabernet, same vintage as that fateful night, overlooking the glittering grid. No parties needed. Solitude is ally now. Family's ghosts linger faintly, but powerless. Madison counts days. Parents scrape by. I thrive, undiminished. The best revenge? Success so absolute. Their underestimation becomes their eternal regret. As stars emerge, I toast silently. To survival as Genesis. To empires unchallenged.